Wednesday News Time, 6:31. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
We have a disabled vehicle on the eastbound side of the LIE on Long Island. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big Three. It's slow over by Searingtown Road, exit 36, and westbounders have to go by and take a peek, so you have big delays over by Glen Cove Road. Northern State Parkway is very busy. Westbound, passing the North Shore Towers, heading towards Little Neck Parkway, and the Southern State Parkway, Eagle Avenue to at least the Seaford Oyster Bay, and westbound by the Meadowbrook as you approach Grand Avenue and exit 20S. You do have some volume. Throgs Neck Bridge, Whitestone Bridge, pick your poison. I would actually take the Throgs Neck into Queens over the Whitestone, and I'd stick with the Clearview over the Cross Island parking lot. Traveling southbound in the Bronx on the Hutch, heading towards the Bruckner Interchange, bumper to bumper, and across the span into Queens. It's going to take you some time. The Triborough Bridge is slow entering Queens. You have delays that go all the way back to the Harlem River Drive. Trying to get to Steinway Street is a tough task. Round trip on the FDR, bumper to bumper from 14th Street up to the Triborough Bridge. I would actually go with the West Side Highway. It's slow, but not as bad. Outbound George Washington Bridge, 40 minutes. 20 minutes at the outbound Lincoln and Holland, both inbound, are well over 25. Andre Farrow, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check now of your AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
And Lori, as we head through the night, so we're going to start to see more clouds moving in from the south and west. The sky's still pretty clear at this hour, but again, the clouds will be increasing tonight. We'll have lows close to 40 in and around the city. Most suburbs, though, down into the 30s. Some spots will go well down into the 30s for tonight before those clouds roll in. Now, we will have more clouds around for tomorrow with a high of 53, but it looks mainly dry during the day tomorrow, probably even into the early part of tomorrow night. But there will be a bit of rain that moves through at least parts of the area tomorrow night with a low of 47. Now, the farther north you are in the area, especially north of the city, there will be some places that likely miss out on the rain, as this is we're going to be on the northern fringe of some of this rain moving through, and some of that rain will linger into early Saturday. Otherwise, clouds give way to some sun, a high of 50. We'll have sunshine and some clouds Sunday, a pretty nice late November day with a high again close to 50. Right now we have a mostly clear sky. It's 43 degrees in Midtown, going down to 40 tonight. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Hurricane Melissa, which killed dozens of people in the Caribbean and caused widespread destruction in Jamaica, was even more powerful than previously believed.
One of the weather instruments, a NOAA Hurricane Hunter airplane, dropped into the storm last month before it made landfall in the Caribbean, recorded a wind gust of 252 miles per hour. That broke the record of 248 miles per hour set by Typhoon Meggy over the western Pacific Ocean in 2010. Melissa made landfall in Jamaica as a major Category 5 hurricane and killed dozens of people, mostly in Jamaica and Haiti.
Correspondent Michael Wallace. The New York Public Library is letting you check out books that you never have to return. They're giving away 1,000 books from its list of the best titles of 2025. Chief Librarian Brian Bannon.
Not only is there going to be things on this list that we know, people who are dedicated romance readers or dedicated thriller readers, but it's also, if you want to dip your toe into a new genre type, this is the best of the best as far as we're concerned that came out this year. And so it's a way also for New Yorkers who are want to try something new out, a way to do that without a wait time.
The books are available at 3 libraries: the Stavros Niarchos Foundation Library on 5th Avenue in Manhattan, the Bronx Library Center on East Kingsbridge Road, and the St. George Library in Staten Island. The books are for adults, teens, and children. Luxury shoppers are turning their heels on high-end brands these days. A new report says global sales of personal luxury goods are expected to drop for a second year in a row, thanks to price hikes on offerings that aren't generating a lot of buzz. The Bain & Co. consultancy says footwear and handbags are the categories that have suffered the most, as they are where the price hikes have been the highest. Terrifying incident for a Miss Universe contestant in Bangkok.
As she was sauntering off the stage in a glittering orange gown after her own introduction at a preliminary round, Miss Jamaica stepped off the edge of the dark runway and plunged to the floor. Audience members jumped out of their seats to try to help Gabrielle Henry, who's a doctor herself of ophthalmology. Footage posted to social media shows her being carried away on a stretcher. Miss Universe Jamaica organization says she was rushed to the hospital. The group says she didn't break any bones and her injuries are not life-threatening. No word on whether Dr. Henry will make it back for tomorrow's final round. Deborah Rodriguez for 1010 wins.
43 degrees now. We are going down a notch to 42 tonight. Your favorite HBO show may have just been renewed. That story's next. Now 1010 wins
Awesome.
entertainment. HBO is sticking to its swords, ordering new seasons of the Game of Thrones prequels, House of the Dragon, and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Also on HBO, Goodbye Thailand.
What if it's a cult, Piper?
The monk who runs it, he has written major books.
So Charles Manson wrote books. I don't even have my lorazepam. I'm gonna have to drink myself to sleep.
And hello, France. Season 4, The White Lotus, will be set in France, and creator Mike White has started preliminary casting. HBO says White is still writing the season, and things are very early. A premiere date has not yet been announced.
Entertainment on 1010 wins.
It won't make your commute any easier, but it sure will sound better. Make the switch to All News 92.3 FM, powered by 1010 Wins.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good evening, 43 degrees at 6:40. I'm Lori Metten. And here's what's happening. 36 suspected gang members are charged with terrorizing Queens Village and the surrounding communities.
This group didn't care whether they were shooting in busy intersections, whether they were shooting by schools, playgrounds.
Our Marla Diamond with a story coming up. The Creedmoor redevelopment project, one step closer to reality. A do-over for the Justice Department in the James Comey case, with prosecutors now saying the full grand jury was shown the final indictment. That's not what they said yesterday. An autism group blasting the CDC for changing its website, which now reflects the vaccine views of Health Secretary Robert Kennedy. And the Oscar goes to a new award being handed out at the next ceremony. 1010 Wins AccuWeather says becoming mostly cloudy tonight, low 42. Cloudy tomorrow, a little bit milder than today, high 53. Wins News Time, 6:41. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
Trouble on Long Island, eastbound LIE. Here's what we see on Long Island's Big 3. Over by exit 36 for Searingtown Road. The HOV lane has a disabled vehicle. It's also affecting the left lane as well. And westbounders got to go by and take a peek. Those delays that go back to Glen Cove Road. The westbound Northern State Parkway busy passing New Hyde Park Road and heading towards the North Shore Towers. Eastbound Southern slow from Nassau Boulevard all the way to the Seaford Oyster Bay. In Suffolk County, also a crash on the westbound LIE right around exit 55 as you pass Route 111. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Outbound George Washington Bridge, 40 minutes from the Cross Bronx. Inbound, going to cost you around 25. West Side Highway, still moving better than the east side of Manhattan. You are slow from 96th Street, West 96th Street up to the Cross Bronx. Go with the Riverside Drive or Broadway for an exit or two and save some time. Lincoln Tunnel inbound is going to cost you 30, about the same as the inbound Holland, but the outbound Holland's only around 15. Outbound Lincoln's more of a 25-minute deal. Western spur delays south of Route 3, heading down towards Newark Airport, and heavy on the westbound side of 280 in New Jersey, passing 21. There's eastbound delays there as well, passing the Garden State Parkway. Andre Farrow, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Big gang takedown in Queens today.
NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenny said that 32 alleged members of the Bad Code Ball-Out gang who were charged turned the streets of Southeast Queens into open battlefields of gun violence.
These indictments outline targeted shootings near schools, restaurants, other public places in broad daylight, resulting in 3 murders, 2 non-fatal shooting incidents, and 8 other shootings where thankfully nobody was hit.
One of the victims, 66-year-old William Alcindor, was at a St. Albans intersection last September when he was shot and killed. A 15-year-old has been charged with his murder. Marla Diamond, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM in Queens.
A plan to redevelop the old and vacant Creedmoor Psychiatric Center in Queens is one step closer to reality. Governor Hochul says the Public Authorities Control Board cleared the way to turn nearly 50 acres of state land into a mixed-use community with 2,000 units of housing, half of which will be affordable rental units. The project has received some community pushback, though, and the total number of homes has been cut back, along with the number of planned 8-story buildings. Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani heading to Washington tomorrow to meet with the president.
Mayor-elect Mamdani will be stressing his affordability mantra when he meets with President Trump.
You know, when we speak about what New Yorkers are going through right now, they are facing a reality that they may have to leave this city.
He said after Trump was elected,
I went to two of the neighborhoods that saw the largest swings towards Republicans, and that was Hillside Avenue in Queens and Fordham Road in the Bronx.
And he asked them why they voted for Trump, and they said it's because he campaigned on affordability. Mamdani is hoping he and the president will make headway on that common ground. Juliet Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
A Suffolk County postal worker is accused of trying to save a person from ICE custody.
Authorities say postal worker Tamara Mayorga Wong ran out of the post office in West Hampton upset over an ICE agent handcuffing a man and putting him in the back seat of an ICE vehicle. She is then accused of screaming, "You can't do this," and opened the door of the car and told the man to run away. The man ran but was soon caught. Wong faces a number of charges. She's also accused of saying, "What are you going to tell your children about what you do?" Sophia Hall, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM on Long Island.
A do-over from the Justice Department in the James Comey case, a day after a top federal prosecutor told a judge that the entire grand jury did not review the final indictment. The Department of Justice now says the full grand jury did review the final indictment. That's what prosecutors wrote in a filing to the court. The former FBI director is accused of lying to Congress 5 years ago. He wants the case thrown out, arguing vindictive prosecution. Your barista may be walking the picket line tonight. The strike against Starbucks is expanding. That was the case in the financial district today.
At the Starbucks on Water Street, barista Mina Leon says it's hard to take legally mandated breaks when two people are running the store for 7 hours.
Starbucks has been stalling on our last demands, which are increased wages and better staffing.
Fellow barista Ray Shao says they're doing the jobs of multiple people and not being paid for it.
Understaffing, unpredictable schedules.
So would folks pay a little extra for their Starbucks to increase wages?
The wages across the board in this country are too low.
It is too expensive. Someone told me that if inflation's going the same way that it's been going, then in 10 years, a cup of coffee will be $28.
Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
If you don't have your real ID yet, it might cost you $18 to go through TSA checkpoints under a proposed rule by the Transportation Security Administration.
A real ID is either a state-issued driver's license or another form of valid government identification that's gone through federal security standards. It usually has a star in the corner of the license to denote that. The TSA calling this just the latest step in real ID compliance, something that they've been trying to do for decades. This law was signed more than 20 years ago.
Correspondent Jay O'Brien. The Autism Science Foundation says the science is clear. Vaccines do not cause autism. A statement issued after the CDC changed its website to reflect the views of Health Secretary Robert Kennedy.
Until yesterday, the website said studies have shown no link between vaccines and developing autism. The new language says studies that have not ruled out a possible link have been ignored by health authorities. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has long suggested a connection between vaccines and autism.
This is a preventable disease. We know it's an environmental exposure.
The Health Department spokesman says the CDC's website has been updated to reflect gold standard evidence-based science.
Correspondent Michael Wallace. A warning about a new high-tech method to steal your car.
It's called a relay attack. It's when thieves capture your key fob signal inside your home by holding up an antenna outside. In other instances, criminals are physically breaking into a car, then using a tablet-like device to access the vehicle's computer and program a blank key fob, essentially giving them a working copy of your key. Police in Ohio earlier this year arrested a group of suspected car thieves, found with a bag of blank key fobs and a scanner used to detect the data needed to make the duplicate key.
It's correspondent Sophia Flay. A pair of Israeli strikes in Gaza's southern city of Khan Yunis killed 5 people, according to hospital officials who say the death toll from airstrikes in 12 hours has risen to 33. The renewed escalation came after Israel said its soldiers had come under fire in that city. Israel said no soldiers were killed and responded with strikes. Gaza health officials say Israeli strikes have decreased since the ceasefire took effect, but they have not stopped entirely. Verizon workers are getting pink slips.
Verizon is cutting more than 13,000 jobs in a restructuring touching every aspect of the wireless carrier's business, with layoffs hitting retail workers, customer service agents, and senior management. The layoffs are expected to amount to 20% of Verizon's non-union workforce, and reports indicate that more restructuring moves are on the way in the coming weeks, with Verizon attempting to stop the bleeding in its business after reporting a decline of 7,000 wireless customers in the third quarter.
That's correspondent Jason Brooks. We're getting a new up-close look at a comet that's been speeding through our solar system.
The elephant in the room at the beginning of the NASA news conference was internet speculation that 3I Atlas might be an alien spacecraft. The agency's science mission directorate, Nikki Fox, says,
"We certainly haven't seen any techno-signatures or anything from it that would lead us to believe it was anything other than a comet."
A cursory skim across the web suggests that the news conference has not quelled the rumors. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Wins News Time, 6:51. Let's get you where you need to go. Here's Andre Farrow.
And if you're traveling on Long Island, that eastbound side of the LIE by Searingtown Road, exit 36, we're working on clearing that disabled vehicle. So you're dealing with a bigger delay, not only eastbound, but westbound as well over by Glen Cove Road. And the eastbound Northern State Parkway, we have some activity right around IU Willits Road as you head towards the split of the Northern State and the Meadowbrook. Eastbound on the southern, you're slow from Eagle Avenue to the Seaford Oyster Bay. Slow on the southbound Cross Island from Bell down to Northern. I would go with the Clearview if you're using the Throgsett Queensbound. Huge delays across the Kosciuszko remain from Queens Boulevard to the Williamsburg to Flushing Avenue. And the outbound Gowanus still dealing with some big volume heading down towards 39th Street. And the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel Manhattan bound is slow. The outbound Holland's going to cost you around 15 minutes. It's improving. Outbound Lincoln's more of a 25-minute deal. Outbound George Washington Bridge, about 40 minutes. I would still go with the West Side Highway over the east side of Manhattan. Andre Farrow, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
Now let's get a check of your AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
Well, still a mostly clear sky right now, Lori, but we are going to see clouds increase throughout the night. Now, temperatures aren't going to drop a whole lot more, especially in and around the city. We're expecting a low near 4 tonight. Most suburbs will get down into the 30s. And as these clouds move in, I wouldn't be shocked if the temperature even starts to come up a couple of degrees here as we get closer to daybreak. And that will lead to a somewhat warmer day tomorrow, not by a whole lot. And we'll get to a high of 53 tomorrow. But there will be more clouds around, so it's not going to be as bright and sunny as it was this afternoon, especially since we didn't have a lot of wind today. It didn't feel too bad in the sun. But again, we'll have more clouds tomorrow. It does look dry during the day tomorrow. I think even the early part of tomorrow night, probably dry for most places, but there will be a bit of rain around tomorrow night with a low of 47. And some of that rain could linger into early Saturday. Otherwise, clouds will break for some sunshine, a high near 50. So a decent afternoon Saturday. Sunday looks like a pretty nice day with sunshine and some clouds. High again close to 50. Right now, mostly clear and 43 degrees. In Midtown, we're going down to 40 tonight. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brian Thompson on New York's weather station. 1010 wins on 92.3 FM.
The Oscars might be even longer next time around. The Academy is making room for another award for achievement in casting. In all, 24 awards will be given out. The nominations will be announced January 22nd. The Oscars will be broadcast live on March 15th. Conan O'Brien is hosting. The art world will be focused on Sotheby's here in the city tonight when a Frida Kahlo self-portrait hits the block with an estimated price of $40 million to $60 million. The 1940 work, titled El Sueño, La Cama, may surpass the top price for a work by a female artist. Now, the record is currently $44.4 million for a Georgia O'Keeffe painting. Now, Bloomberg Money Watch.
The world's biggest store chain now thinks its comparable sales will be up a healthy 5% for the full year. Walmart says that hike to its prior forecast comes in large part because of its ability to attract financially nervous shoppers. But it also has a lot to do with Walmart's online operations, which are attracting higher income consumers. Walmart is warning that its costs are rising, but for now, it's absorbing a lot of higher costs instead of passing them on to its customers. Wall Street started the day with a big rally, but that petered out. Dow ended down 387, NASDAQ off 486, S&P down 103. I'm Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Money Watch on 1010 wins at 92.3 FM.
WINS FM in HD1 New York.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. 40
43 degrees now, partly cloudy here in the city. The temperature is pretty much going to hold steady tonight. More people get their news from 1010 Winds than from any other radio station in the nation. John Davis is our service aide. Gary Souter is at the editor's desk. I'm Lori Metten.
All news, all the time. This is 1010 Winds at 92.3 FM, New York.
43 degrees, partly cloudy at 7 o'clock. Good evening, I'm Lane Bajardi. Here's what's happening. Unionized Starbucks workers expanding their strike in the city. A baby found in a trash bag in Canarsie, unclear if it was stillborn.
I'll be ready for whatever happens.
Zoran Mamdani preparing to meet President Trump in the Oval Office. Facing potential dismissal of charges against former FBI Director James Comey, the Trump Justice Department again changing its story about the indictment. Debt stress is growing as people continue their holiday shopping. Islanders skate in Detroit, Devils in Florida, Rangers in Colorado. AccuWeather says partly to mostly cloudy tonight, low 42 in the city. 30s for most suburbs, cloudy tomorrow with a high of 53. Winds News Time 7:01. Let's get you where you need to go. Andre Farrell.
Let's go to the FDR lane. If you're traveling northbound, you're going to be dealing with some slowdowns from Houston Street up to the 96th Street area. Southbound is bumper to bumper coming down from the Harlem River Drive, passing the Triborough and heading down towards 34th Street. Local avenues or West Side Highway would be way better for you. Outbound Holland, not too bad. Here's what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels. Around 15 minutes, 25 minutes of the outbound Lincoln. Outbound George Washington Bridge is a 40-minute delay from the Cross Bronx. The West Side Highway would be a good cut through to get through some of those delays heading back to New Jersey. Now, if you're traveling on the Whitestone, Throgsneck, and Triborough bridges, all three are slow queensbound. If you're using the Throgsneck, stick with the southbound Clearview. You do better there. The eastbound disabled vehicle on Long Island over by Searingtown Road has cleared, but you're heavy on the westbound side of the LIE and Northern State Parkways from Roslyn Road to the Queens border. And there's a stall on the eastbound Northern State Parkway right around IU Willage Road. Heavy on the westbound Southern right by the Meadowbrook, and eastbound delays approaching 110. Andre Ferro, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Unionized Starbucks baristas across the country are on what they call an open-ended strike until they get a new contract.
Overworked and underpaid is how Starbucks baristas at the Water Street location describe working conditions. Mina Leon is one of them.
A few Sundays ago, it was me and just my shift lead on the floor from 5 a.m. to noon.
He says Starbucks made them start coming in at 4:30 a.m. without any negotiation. So would people pay a couple of extra bucks for their Frappuccino for baristas to make more? Opinions are mixed.
Wouldn't you just get a different job if you didn't agree with the way it was being run?
A couple of extra bucks to go to someone's pay, it's nothing.
Because it's $7 already.
Baristas at 95 stores are on strike. Mac Rosenberg, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
Sad discovery in Canarsie, the remains of a baby found in a trash bag and a pile of leaves. Police responded to a 911 call at NYCHA's Bayview houses. It's believed to be a fetus that was as many as 7 months along. The medical examiner will work to determine if the child was born alive or dead as police try to find the mother. Mayor-elect Mamdani previewing his Oval Office meeting with President Trump tomorrow.
The mayor-elect had asked for the meeting with President Trump.
My intention is to make clear to the president what New Yorkers are having to live through right now and how important it is for us to deliver for those same New Yorkers.
Mamdani brushed aside questions about how he'd handle any effort by Trump to embarrass him.
And at the end of it, the focus has to be, what's the case that you're making? Why are you there?
He believes there will be shared goals to produce a reasonable cost of living and a safer New York City. Julia Papa, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM.
There is no known specific threat against the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, according to a law enforcement bulletin ahead of the big event. Still, there are concerns, with the FBI warning there's a persistent threat from mass casualty and targeted shootings, as well as a constant concern that terrorists could seek to use vehicles to drive through large crowds. The advisory notes vehicle ramming has become a recurring tactic, with interest from foreign terrorists, domestic extremists, and lone offenders. Efforts to set up barriers to limit the threat to the parade will be made. Queens District Attorney announcing the arrest of 32 alleged gang members in a shooting spree that terrorized several neighborhoods in the southeast section of the borough.
Video shared at the announcement showed 23 rounds being fired outside of a home in St. Albans. A girl inside was struck in the leg. NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenny.
This gang turf war between Badco and rival crews, including Top Op Mac Ballers, Fifth Clock, and BG4, had turned several Queens communities into open battlefields of gun violence.
DA Melinda Katz said an innocent motorist was killed. Customers in a McDonald's were shot at.
This is the very definition of senseless violence that produced innocent victims.
Out of the 32 defendants, 9 were under the age of 16. Marla Diamond, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Queens.
A Long Island postal worker who witnessed an attempt by ICE agents to take a man into custody is now facing federal charges.
Prosecutors say as she was wearing her postal worker uniform in West Hampton, Tamara Mayorga Wong is accused of opening up the ICE agent's back door of his car and telling the man inside to run. She is then accused of hiding in her personal vehicle until she was arrested. The man detained by ICE was also caught. Wong allegedly started saying again and again, "Why are you doing this to your people?" Sophia Hall, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM on Long Island.
The first Dominican American member of Congress will face a primary challenge from the left. Democratic Representative Adriano Espaillat represents Upper Manhattan and the West Bronx in the House. Now, Daria Liza Abile Chevalier, who works for the Public Defender's Office and has helped organize anti-Israel protests at Columbia University, is seeking to unseat him.
I've seen the way things have gotten harder for the people who live here. I've seen how my friends are moving further and further away because of the rising cost of rent and just how difficult things have become for the New Yorkers that make the city so incredible.
The 31-year-old Chevalier has the support of Justice Democrats seeking to build on the victories of Zoran Mamdani and, before that, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to unseat Democrats they believe are not progressive enough. Also today, the first Puerto Rican woman in Congress has announced she will retire at the end of her term. Linnea Velasquez has long represented portions of Brooklyn and Queens, but will not seek re-election during the midterms. A funeral today for a former vice president.
Former President George W. Bush described Cheney as funny and easygoing, a style his public image never caught up with. But he wasn't your standard-issue politician.
Many voters came hoping for a kind word and a hug. They'd have to settle for the kind word. I arrived back at the conclusion that they do not come any better than Dick Cheney.
Cheney and his daughter Liz, a former congresswoman, were caught up in a feud with President Trump over the Capitol riot investigation.
Though he was inspired to service by President Kennedy, Dick Cheney became a Republican. But he knew that bonds of party must always yield to the single bond we share as Americans.
President Trump was not at the funeral. He wasn't invited. Ed Donahue, Washington.
The Justice Department is backtracking after a bombshell admission about the indictment against former FBI Director James Comey. Federal prosecutors now say that the entire grand jury did review the indictment that charged Comey with lying to Congress. The correction comes just a day after interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan told the judge that only 2 members of the grand jury reviewed the 2-count indictment. The judge is considering throwing out the case based on the procedural error made by a former personal attorney for President Trump with no prosecutorial experience.